What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Cannonballs podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Dane Cannon. Co-hosting with me today is
your boy Jake Bowles on the mic 1-2, and we're back, baby. We missed a week. I went on vacation, but we're back right in time for the start of the NFL 2023 season, baby.
That we are. And, it has been a long time coming. Preseason was fun and everything, but I think it's time for some actual real football. And I'm excited. Kickoff starts this Thursday with the Lions and Chiefs. I think that's going to be a great game. But guys, since we are finally in the in-season episodes, we're going to be doing our power rankings. If you guys have been following us for a while, we'll do a power rankings episode after every week just to see where your team falls. And we're also going to be doing a week one prediction video. So keep an eye out for that. Guys, you know the drill. Follow us here. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. What's up, Jake?
I know we haven't been on for a week, but we haven't really talked about some of the big breaking news that's happened recently. Do you want to discuss it? The Trey Lance saga. We can just run by it real quick.
We can just share our thoughts. Yeah.
So we're gonna go into not so breaking news.
Not so breaking news. Do I even have that? I do, I think. I do. Okay. So I don't know, man. That's a tough call because you give up 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance. You pick him, third overall? Is that when the 49ers drafted him? Third overall?
Yeah, third overall.
Yeah, 3 first-rounders, third overall. Like you told me, we discussed this kind of off camera, but basically – if Brock Purdy wasn't a hit, your GM's gone. And I think that's pretty safe to say. I am a little hesitant. I don't know how much of an opportunity Trey Lance is going to get over in Dallas unless Dak has an injury, which, he has somewhat been injury prone yearly. Sometimes he'll miss a week, couple weeks, or he has a season ending injury, but, he hasn't been the healthiest. So I think that there is a possibility that he could see the field, but I don't know how big of an opportunity he's going to have. Overall, I think it's an interesting thing. I don't like the value that they got for him. I think they should have stuck it out at least one more year, see if they could have developed him a little bit further. He hasn't been healthy for an entire NFL season. I know that he wasn't going to be the starter, but I don't know. I feel like they should have held on to him a little bit longer. I understand he didn't want to be there. That was kind of his whole thing, is if he got bumped down to the third string, he wanted to find an opportunity elsewhere, which I totally understand. And I think that Shanahan did him a good service by letting him seek the open market and see if any team was interested. But overall, I don't know. The Trey Lance era did not go according to plan for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, definitely not. I thought it was the whole thing, the whole 3 years has just been weird. And, he might be one of the most unlucky quarterbacks to enter the draft or enter the NFL. Like, it's just been injury after injury, and it just has not panned out, definitely. Obviously, he's on the Cowboys now. I get what they were doing because, not so breaking news. Bosa still has to be paid. He's still not signed, and week 1 is upon us. So I get why they were probably trying to save up some money for him. Or, we got Ayuk coming up on a contract. I don't know if we're going to be able to keep both. So I get what they're doing. And, if he's not the dude, they took a big swing and a miss, man, like a huge swing and a miss. I mean, I was telling our group chat, this is probably, it has to be the worst draft trade in NFL history. 3 firsts for a player that has played 4 games, I believe. 4 games. 4 games, played like a play here and there in other games, but he's played 4 games. And they got a 4th back for him. I mean, it's like, if he's such a bad player and they got a 4th for him, then cool. But the thing is, we as fans, we don't see Like we want to see him, or we wanted to see him on the field, and I still like want to believe that he has some potential. But if like they saw all they needed to see and he just wasn't the dude, then I guess maybe a fourth round pick is best case scenario. I would have liked to see him kind of ride out the rest of his contract, see what would have happened there. But you know what? It would have been more turmoil, more quarterback controversy, and this is a win team. This is a win now team. So I kind of get like getting rid of all the drama and shit. Like honestly, like ever since he left, it's been like, all right, finally he's gone, or like we kind of have some more clarity at the quarterback position. But you know, this thing is far from over, because if Trey Lance does develop and becomes, you know, a good quarterback or whatever, serviceable at least in Dallas, then this is just going to make the 49ers look even worse.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that really quick. Say, for example, Dak goes down. Do they still have Cooper Rush, according to your knowledge? They do. So I'm assuming that is Trey Lance going to be the third?
Yeah, he's the third right now.
So that kind of contradicts what he said earlier, because I know that according to news media that he didn't want to be the third, but he's going to another team to be the third. That doesn't really make sense to me. But either way, say, for example, Dak gets hurt and then he's able to win the second string job over Cooper Rush. And if he balls out, then it'll look bad. But I just don't see it happening. I really don't. I hate to say it, but even in preseason, he just didn't look right. And they were rolling out with some of their first string offense. And I just feel like he didn't develop the mentality or the mindset to be in. He just seemed like he was kind of lost out there. Like maybe it was hard for him to pick up the offensive scheme or read NFL defenses. I mean, he didn't have a lot of opportunities because he wasn't out on the field enough. But still, like sitting for a couple of years, you got to be able to pick up the playbook, kind of know your reads a little bit quicker, because that was the thing. He just held on to the ball way too freaking long.
Yeah, I think that was like the clear difference between him and Brock Purdy, was the way that Brock Purdy anticipates and reads the field is vastly great. Like you could physically see that on the tape. And I've been watching a lot of tape on Trey Lance and Brock Purdy, and it's just, yeah, he just doesn't see the field like Brock Purdy. Like Brock Purdy looks almost like a seasoned vet out there, and Trey Lance looks like a baby deer. And you know, I'm not gonna say he's just one of the biggest busts, because you know his NFL career is still alive. You know, if he, and it's gonna be interesting too, because he's on the last year of his contract. So what's Dallas gonna do? Are they gonna sign him to a contract? I'm interested to see. So it was just an unfortunate thing for the 49ers. You know, they took a big swing and made a huge miss. But you know, it's over. Trey area is over in the Bay Area.
Yep.
Other than that, I think the other biggest news is the
Dalvin
Arizona
Cook.
Cardinals. Well, have we talked about that?
I don't know. I don't know if we did.
Well, we could talk about Dalvin Cook real quick. Dalvin Cook did sign with the Jets, and I like it. I mean, this is like in the NBA when you have a super team, and you know they're literally doing what the Bucks did like 2 years ago when they went on their Super Bowl run with Tom Brady. Yeah, I mean, on paper, this team looks like a legit Super Bowl contender. It's really just if Aaron Rodgers can get back to his MVP form. I think that's the biggest thing. We will see, though. But I think, you know, that 1-2 punch between Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall, I think it's perfect for both of those running backs, because
I do too.
Breece is coming off an injury. Dalvin Cook is kind of injury prone, you know, and they're both really good running backs. So if, you know, they get to share the load, then they'll have a 1-2 punch, and they'll probably be way more fresh towards the end of the season. So I really like the pickup or the signing. And then other than that, another big trade we haven't got to talk about is the Isaiah Simmons trade.
My God.
I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, this one is also bad because Isaiah Simmons was taken 7th overall. 8th overall, whatever it was, in the first round a couple years ago, and he gets traded for a 7th. Like, I understand that Arizona's kind of like throwing in the towel, it seems like, this year, so they can have a higher draft pick for next year, possibly get Caleb Williams if he does come out of the college and come into the NFL draft. But you got to get more. The versatility that you can use Isaiah Simmons in is more than just a 7th stringer. I mean, he plays linebacker. You can use him at safety. He's decent in coverage. He's good at blitzing. You can use him on the edge if you wanted to. He was really good at that at Clemson. So I don't know, man. I would have liked to have seen a little bit higher draft capital for that. But I mean, shit, dude, the Chargers got a 7th for their backup kicker that we didn't even want.
Wow. I'll say this. I'm excited for Isaiah Simmons. He's going to a way better situation. You know, the Giants have a young, turnover happy defense. A lot of players on that team. You know, a great head coach, or he's a good hook. I'm gonna say great. I think he's a good head coach. We'll see. You know, if he can continue what he did last year, but. No, I'm excited for him. I think he's going to a perfect situation that's going to use him. They're young. They're hungry. So I like it for Isaiah Simmons' career. I just don't like it. And the Giants, honestly. I mean, they finessed the Cardinals for him. But yeah, they really are tanking, man. And it's like completely obvious that they're tanking. So
yeah. Did you hear what is his name? Jonathan Gannon? That's a head coach, right?
Yeah.
Did you see his like little motivational speech about like lighting the fire? Did you see that?
No. Was it bad?
Just look it up. Just look it up because it's like
after this episode.
Yeah, look it up after this episode. But it's just like you're clearly getting rid of players, like good players.
Yeah,
and so it's just I don't know. Then there's the whole controversy whether or not Kyler Murray is actually going to play or not. A lot of people seem to think that he's not going to play at all this year. Some people think that he's going to try and come back like earlier in the season. I don't know, man. If Kyler comes back, then I will take them a little bit more seriously. But like still, you don't have D-Hop anymore. JJ Watt's gone. You trade Isaiah Simmons. You lose other defensive linemen. I don't know, man. It's going to be tough. It is going to be tough. You still have James Conner. Drafted some offensive linemen, so maybe the line will look a little bit better. It'll probably take a little bit of time for it to gel. But if I do not see Kyler Murray at all for the Arizona Cardinals, it is the clearest tanking season I have ever seen. Like that is literally, we want the number 1 overall pick. Mm-hmm. We want Caleb Williams.
Let me ask you, if you're Kyler Murray, would you play this season?
Absolutely.
You would?
I would.
For a team that is openly tanking, that is talking about getting the number 1 another quarterback when you just got paid. So you would play for an organization that doesn't want you anymore.
I would, and here's why. I want to keep my value up, because if you sit the entire season but you were cleared, then that kind of comes back on you. Like, why didn't you play? The NFL is still a business, and you have to keep yourself marketable. So for me personally, if I was in Kyler's shoes, yeah, maybe it won't look pretty, but you still got to be able to show that, like, hey, I'm an NFL quarterback or an NFL caliber quarterback. Because if they just pay you the big bucks and then the next thing you know, you're getting traded, why'd they trade him? Is the Call of Duty stuff real? Is he injury prone? Like, what's the reason why? But if you come back and play, you show like, hey, I'm willing to put myself out here on the line, even for a bad team this year. So that shows, I think that shows like organizations, hey, let's take a bet or a chance on this guy, maybe draft or make a trade for him. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm Kyler Murray, I don't come back this season. I don't risk further injury.
That's the flip side of the coin. You got to take that into consideration also. So like next year you are completely healthy.
Yeah, I think I save. If a team doesn't want me, there's going to be a team that's going to take a risk on Kyler Murray. I mean, the problem with him is he just signed that massive contract, and a team is going to have to pick up the entire contract, unless like the Cardinals pay like half of it or some shit like that, and
which they might.
Yeah, I mean,
because I mean, think about it. How many big name players do they have other than Budda Baker right now that they're paying a lot of money to? Budda Baker's probably going to be like one of the only players at this point in time.
Yeah.
Maybe James Conner, but he's a running back. The running back value is low.
Yeah. It'll be definitely an interesting situation to monitor. But you know what? I'm ready to get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, Dan.
Yeah, let's do it. So, guys, like we said, we are going to be doing our power rankings this episode. No graphics, just because Jake and I do not want to do 32 graphics. We are very busy as well. If you guys gave us more likes and follows, maybe we could spend a little bit more time. But here we are. So, Jake, let's start off. We'll go 32-1. So we're going to be starting. This is preseason, or this is right before the season. So technically still preseason. Obviously, these are going to change, and we're going to adjust them a lot throughout the season. Jake and I have been doing this for 2 years now, so we know that there's a lot of change. This is just on our opinion. And I want to preface this video by stating that, I think the bottom 3 teams are kind of the most obvious to me. Maybe the bottom 2 teams, in my opinion. But then once you start getting like near the like mid 20s to like maybe 18, I feel like there's a lot of interchangeable teams. Like I feel like there's a lot of teams that could be like put in the same spot. So this is just where we rank them. I think that a lot of these teams are around the same caliber team. But Jake, let's get into it. So at number 32, I do have the Arizona Cardinals. I have them there because they don't have Kyler as of right now. Isaiah Simmons gone, D-Hop gone, J.J. Watt gone. It's tough because they have a lot of young talent right now, and they're in a rebuild. They're trying to get back to playoff form, and it's going to take a little bit of time. They're going to have to draft really well again. I think they had a solid draft this year, but yeah, I got them at 32.
Yeah, I got them 32 as well. It's not really complicated. Not a whole lot going on there. And they're openly tanking. So
yeah, clearly.
So for 31, this one is a little hard for me. I almost wanted to put a different team, but for how bad this team played last year and a rookie quarterback who is very raw, I think he is going to make some splash plays. I do. But with that being said, I got the Indianapolis Colts at 31.
Interesting.
I just think, I don't know, no Jonathan Taylor. There's a lot of kind of like weird stuff going on in Indianapolis. Their receiving core doesn't like put a whole lot of fear in me. I mean, Michael Pittman is cool, but he completely disappeared last year. And then Anthony Richardson, like he is a very raw quarterback. He's definitely the rawest 100%. Quarterback this year. So he could be the worst quarterback in the entire league. He could be one of the best. He could win offensive rookie of the year. I don't know. But it's just he's gonna have an uphill climb, but I'm here for it. So but I still think as a team as a whole, I got the Colts at 31.
Okay. For 31, I think that this team has the potential to be a lot higher. But I actually have the Los Angeles Rams at 31. Mostly because they are very, very young. I think that losing Jalen Ramsey is a huge loss to that defense. Right now, they have a lot of young talent. Aaron Donald's the only like centerpiece, in my opinion, as of right now, for that defense. Who could get traded on that defensive line. Cooper Kupp is going to miss a couple weeks. He injured a hamstring twice now. It's not just one injury. It came back, re-aggravated it. Matthew Stafford, he's been dealing with injuries. So the wide receiver core, I don't trust Tutu Atwell. I don't think that he's going to do much. I think that you're going to rely a lot on Tyler Higbee. I think that he's going to be like the center stone. Cam Akers. The offensive line's new.
I hear some good things about Puka.
Yeah. I like what I saw from him in the preseason. So it is interesting. Like I said, this is a team that I think has the potential to be a lot higher than 31. But as of right now, just even what I saw in preseason, like their rookies need work. Like they got beat pretty bad by a couple teams. So yeah, I'm going to go Los Angeles Rams 31.
For sure. What do you got at 30?
At 30, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that this team...
So do I.
Okay. So I think that this team, again, has the potential to look a lot better. I think that they have the chance to be a lot higher than 30. A lot of it's just going to come down to Baker, but, they just lost their starting center. And I think he's done with his career. I think that they said his knees are so totally torn up now that he's not going to be able to play.
Jesus Christ.
which is a huge loss because he was
Was
a
that
solid.
Jensen?
Is that his
Is
name?
that
Yeah,
right? Or is
the
it-
ginger, the ginger.
I think, or maybe he's the guard. I forget.
Trying to remember his name.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Look that up for me. But the redheaded guy, solid center. They lose him.
Yeah.
That's a huge loss.
Ryan Jensen.
Yeah, that's what it was. So I think Baker has the potential to be better. I mean, he still has good wide receivers. Godwin and Mike Evans are both solid. The defense is pretty legit also. It's just, how's it going to come together? Because I wasn't impressed with what Todd Bowles was able to do last year. So we'll see if he can improve. So yeah, Tampa Bay Bucks at 30. You have them at 30 as well. So Jake, who do you have at 29?
At 29, I have the Texans. I think they're going to be a little bit better than they were last year. You know, I like D'Amico. I think he's going to bring a lot of culture change to this regime or to this franchise. But that being said, I still don't think they have a lot of elite players on both sides of the ball. I think they have some young talent for sure, like Jalen Petrie. You know, I'm excited to see CJ Stroud out there, see what he can do. Dameon Pierce, I think, is probably one of their best players on both sides of the ball. So, and their receiving core, I don't know, you know, Nico Collins, maybe he's a good fantasy wide receiver. I wouldn't consider him elite by any means. But they did get Dalton Schultz, so he's a pretty good tight end. It takes a while for a team to, you know, start winning multiple games, and they won
They're
what,
a very
2
young.
games?
They're a very young team as well. Like, it's going to take some time. Plus a brand new offensive scheme, a whole new coaching staff. So it's a complete overhaul from what they had last year. So it's going to be very different.
And also, besides Anthony Richardson, I have my questions about CJ Stroud. I want him to do good, but I haven't really seen him without elite talent. So I have a lot of question marks about him, but we will see. So, you know, I don't want to shit on the Texans always, but I mean, last year I had them at probably 32. So they're at what, 30? So it's a little bit of improvement.
29, right? Because we had Tampa Bay Bucks at 30.
Yes. Sorry about that. 29.
Okay, you're good. 29, this is where I have the Colts, basically for every reason that you stated. Anthony Richardson, big question mark. So we'll see how all that goes in. But, you know, we'll see. I think that they have the potential to be better. We'll see what happens once Jonathan Taylor's off of the 4 weeks missed. He's on the PUP list, right? Is that what it is? So we'll see what happens when he comes back. But yeah, Colts at 29 for me. At 28, that's where I have the Houston Texans. I'm just one spot higher than you are on them. I think that they have a potential if CJ Stroud balls out. I think that they could be legit, and at least to a certain degree. I'm not saying like legit, like playoff caliber. I think that they have the potential to win maybe like 7 games this year if everything goes according to plan. Maybe a little bit more if like they're lucky. I like John Mechie coming back. I saw a couple of video clips of him. That's good to see. So yeah, I have the Houston Texans at 28. Who do you have?
All right. At 28, I have the Carolina Panthers. Again, young rookie quarterback, still not a great team. They have some players on defense, but on offense, you know, they had a pretty decent run game, but I don't know. A lot of people are picking the Panthers to win this division. I don't see that at all.
I don't either. I see the Saints taking it.
Yeah, and I think Bryce Young is going to take his lumps for sure. Like, this isn't college. This is the pros, and he is a very small quarterback. You know, historically, small quarterbacks don't really work out in the NFL. There's been like 2 of them. So I think it's going to be a definite learning curve, and it's going to be an uphill climb. But I think he has potential to do it. I'm not really sold on the whole team as of now. So yeah, I got them at 28.
All right, who do you got at 27?
27. This is where I have the Rams, and solely the only reason I have the Rams higher than the Panthers, Texans, Bucks, and Colts
It's because
of Matthew Stafford. Yes, he's a better quarterback. Yes, he's turnover prone, but he is fringe Hall of Fame. I mean, I know he won a Super Bowl, but I don't know. I don't know if I would call him a Hall of Famer, but he's definitely a good quarterback. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks before he went to the Rams. Um, and if Cooper Cup comes back, that's a deadly attack.
Combination.
Also, Sean McVay is one of the best coaches in the NFL, so that's another reason why. But yeah, that's where I got the Rams.
All right. At 27, that's where I have the Carolina Panthers. I just have them one spot higher than you. Like you stated already, Bryce Young going to take his lumps, bruises. I think the defense is solid. I think the running attack is legit. We'll just see how everything meshes, with, is it Frank Reich is he the coach of Carolina?
Yes.
Because it's not Matt Rule anymore. I shit on Matt Rule last year.
Him and freaking Arthur Smith.
If you guys haven't seen that, I have no idea which episode this was, but last year, oh my God, I was just bashing on them. So good job hiring a good, competent head coach. I think that he was kind of thrown out preemptively in Indianapolis. I don't think that he should have been thrown out, but either way, I think that the Carolina Panthers have a potential to be pretty good this year. But as of right now, like I said, the 20s through like 18, I think you can interchange a lot of these teams. So they could be higher in a lot of other rankings, and I would not have an issue with it. So yeah, Carolina 27. 26, this is where I have the Chicago Bears.
So do I.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, so I think Justin Fields had a massive increase in performance last year compared to his rookie season. I feel like they were finally able to utilize his strengths a little bit more effectively, especially running the ball. Still a little bit hesitant on his passing. We will see. If you are a PFF statistical nerd and you want to bring up the preseason, yeah, he threw like 90 yards or whatever in 3 pass attempts. None of them went past the line of scrimmage, so fight me. That was just his players making plays, and they were screen passes, and blocking was pretty good. I think the defense actually has a potential to be better than I thought. I think their cornerbacks looked pretty good in preseason. Again, it's preseason, a lot to be seen on the actual NFL field against number ones. But yeah, I think Chicago Bears could play upset this year.
Yeah, I think they're going to be better than last year. But again, it's like the Texans. I don't think they're going to be so, like, I saw someone, I think it was Adam Rank, say that the Bears were going to win this division. That's not fucking happening.
I don't see that.
That will not happen. I promise you that will not happen. If that happens.
All right, this is Jake's bet. All right, yes. What are you going to do if they do win the division?
If they win the division, I will eat I'll eat another pocket chip. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. That is not happening. The Bears, like, they still need help on that line. Their wide receivers are not, I mean, Mooney's okay. Who else do they have on their wide receivers?
Is it DJ Moore?
DJ Moore. You know what? I am kind of excited for him. I think it's a better situation for him. But the defense, like, they were the last ranked defense. You can't just vastly improve over. Yeah. It's not gonna happen.
Worst to first.
So I think they will win. They won 3 games last year. They'll probably double that, 6 wins, which for a terrible team like the Bears, that's a great improvement. And I think Justin Fields is going to do his thing. I agree with you. I want to see the passing more. And I want to see him stay healthy. So yeah, that's why I have the Bears at that. At 25, I have the Falcons.
I do too. What's cool is, just so you guys know, I created my list last week, I believe, because we were going to record last week. And Jake, you created your list today, correct?
Yes.
So this is just a little bit of an insight as to how similarly Jake and I do think on certain teams, because we had no communication when we come up with our power rankings. So yeah, interesting. 25 Atlanta Falcons. What do you have to say, Jake?
Yeah, I think they could possibly contend for the division crown. This is a very weak division. I really like Bijan. I think he's going to do great things. They already had the number 1 rushing offense last year, which might shock a lot of people. And you're getting a generation, like, people are saying generational talent in Bijan. It's only going to make it better. Where they scare me, Desmond Ridder. He definitely scares me. I think I had high hopes for him coming out of college. I thought out of that class, he was probably my favorite quarterback. I want to see him. I want to see him throw it. You know, he's got weapons. Pitts, Drake London. Who else does he have? But yeah, it's just a lot of question marks at quarterback, which have me doubting the Falcons. But you know what? Prove me wrong.
Yeah, I'm in the similar mindset. I think that Atlanta is still going to be a run first team with
Mm-hmm.
Bijan and Tyler Algier. The defense should be a little bit more improved this year. At least I hope it should be a little bit more improved. I feel like the defense has kind of been a little lackluster to say it kindly. They can make plays, they can make splash plays. Cornerbacks are pretty decent, but they need better pass rush. If Atlanta can get a better pass rush, it'll give their cornerbacks more time to make plays. And I think that this team could be better. But like you said, a lot of this is going to fall on Desmond Ritter. So I have them at 25 as well. At
They have
20,
a solid O line. Just looking at it,
yeah, their
they
O
have,
line's
like,
not bad.
they have 3 of the positions in the top 10 or top
Yeah.
20. Or no,
Yeah.
yeah, they have 4. Oh no, that's 3. There's centers 14th, guard number 1 guard Chris Lindstrom, number 4 tackle Caleb McGarry, and 16th tackle Jake Matthews. No wonder they
Not
had
bad.
a stellar run game. All right, sorry
Yeah.
about that.
No, you're good. At 24 for me is the Las Vegas Raiders. Do you have them at 24
The
also?
Raiders as well.
Dude, that's crazy, man.
Dude, that's what, 3 in a row?
I think so. Yeah. So for me, I swear to God, people, we did not talk about
Yeah.
this one bit, so it's kind of entertaining. So yeah, for the Raiders, for me, a lot of this is going to come down to how Jimmy G performs in this offense. I think that the Raiders' defensive line is stacked. I do have question marks about their cornerback and their safety, linebacker depth. Offensively, you still have Devontae Adams. Josh Jacobs is back, which is huge. So I'm a little bit higher on this offense now. Hunter Renfro, he's going to do his thing. Michael Mayer, we'll see what he can do on the offense. I think that he should be utilized in goal line situations as well. Just toss it up, out body the cornerback. So I'm a little bit excited to see what the Raiders look like with Jimmy G. I think that they could be a surprising team.
Honestly, I think this team has one of the widest floor to ceiling in the NFL.
Agreed.
Like, they could be fucking terrible, but they could also be a playoff team. They have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. I am somewhat of a Jimmy G supporter, not only because he's a 49ers quarterback, but I think he's a good quarterback. I think he'd make some bonehead plays, but I still think he's better than half of the quarterbacks out there. And you know what? He is going to get hurt, unfortunately. It's what happens. Aiden O'Connell looks really good, dude. I think for the future, I think they're in good hands.
Aiden O'Connell, the steal of the draft?
Dude, he might be, honestly.
He looked legit in preseason.
Yeah, and then like you said, Josh Jacobs coming back is huge. I would like to see them improve on the O-line, but and the defense as far as the back end. But also, this is like a prove it year for Josh McDaniels for me.
It
Like,
is
if
100%.
he can win more than 6 games, he might just be an OC kind of dude, because this is on paper a pretty good team. So we'll see. So what are we on? 23?
23. Yep.
All right, 23. Let's see if we go 4 for 4. This is where I have the Tennessee Titans.
No, we have a difference here. I think I'm quite a bit higher on Tennessee than you are.
The only reason I have the Titans this low is injuries. Like, they're coming off injuries. They looked pretty bad last year. And I'm still not completely sold on this wide receiving threat.
You have D-Hop now, though.
Oh, you know what? That is true. But he's aged. I still think he can be a good wide receiver for them. I think the Derrick Henry run game is going to help him out a lot. But what's it called? Who's that? Treylon Burks.
Yeah.
We didn't really get to see what he's about, so we'll see.
I
don't
thought
know.
Treylon Burks honestly started coming out a little bit near the end of the season. He just didn't have the best quarterbacks throwing him the ball. I mean, once Ryan Tannehill was injured, it was kind of just poor quarterback play. And they still almost beat the Jags to make it to the playoffs. So.
Yeah. And also Ryan Tannehill is kind of falling off. I think this is probably his last year in Tennessee. And we'll see, we'll see if he gets benched in the middle of the season. But yeah, this is where I have the Titans.
All right, at 23 for me, this is where I have the New England Patriots. For me, I think that the Patriots will be better offensively. Not having Matt Patricia, who was a defensive coordinator, calling offensive plays, I think is going to benefit Mac Jones. The only thing that I'm concerned about is just the talent, the overall talent of the wide receiving core. I like Ramondre Stevenson as the running back. Mac Jones, offensive line, it's always decent. It's never like the best. Well, I mean, if we're going back to the early 2000s, they definitely had some of the best offensive line. But as of late, offensive line's okay. Defense is always pretty solid. So we'll see how they perform overall. I think Bill Belichick, obviously one of the greatest head coaches of all time. We'll see what he can do. I just worry about the overall talent of the roster. So, yeah, I have the New England Patriots at 23.
Right on. Who do you have at 22?
At 22, I have the Denver Broncos. I think with a couple of the injuries that have been going on, it kind of brings them down a little bit lower. It's tough to see, but I don't know if Jerry Jeudy's going to be out there because he's also dealing with a hamstring injury. Russell Wilson looked terrible. I love Sean Payton as a head coach. I really do. I think that he's a legit head coach. I think that it's going to turn this organization around. Defense of Denver is always one of the best. It is a stacked defense. Just question marks on health right now. You're losing players. You've already lost 2 wide receivers. Cortland Sutton's going to be the main guy out there. I like Greg Dulcich as the tight end. I think that'll be solid. Javonte Williams is coming back, so we'll see how he does. But he is coming off an ACL injury, so couple concerns here. I think that this team has the potential to be top 10, the potential. I think that they also have the potential to be bottom 5. I really do. I think that they have a very wide array of outcomes. So, yeah, Denver Broncos 22 for me.
Right on. I want to say this. My last pick, which was the 23 pick. So from 23 to, let's say, 16. These teams are all kind of similar to me. They all have actually really good defenses or decent defenses and a lot of question marks on offense. So this is the same. They're all, to me, a lot of these teams are interchangeable. So with that being said, number 22, I have the Commanders.
Okay. Yeah, just really quick, I do want to reiterate, I'm around the same mindset of these teams up until about, maybe for me, 17. I think 17.
Yeah. So for me, the Commanders, I've heard some good things about Sam Howell. Hopefully he's as advertised or whatever they're saying about him, because Washington is in need of a quarterback. They've been needing a quarterback. I think I've been saying they are a good quarterback away from being a great team. They have great players on defense. I used to think Ron Rivera was a pretty good coach. After last year, I have my question marks about him. I still think he's a good coach. I just think, maybe he had a brain fart or something. But I think this team has a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. Wide receivers are dangerous. Their running backs are dangerous, and their defense could be nasty. It's just a lot riding on Sam Howell. So, yeah, that's why I have them at 22.
Okay, who do you have at 21?
21, this is where I have the Patriots. Same thing. The only reason they're above the Commanders is Bill Belichick. He's a great coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. Probably one of the best coaches of literally all time. Mm-hmm. But, every fairy tale's got to end at some point. And
every dynasty falls.
Yes.
Or every kingdom falls.
Exactly. And my problem with Bill Belichick is I think he's a great defensive-minded coach, but I think he's not what it showed. How do I say this? He's not been able to keep up with the times. I think he's a little bit he's very stubborn. he can't relate to maybe the younger players. He's like, he does an old school way of coaching, which, that's the Patriot way. You listen to Bill Belichick, you don't freaking run your mouth. You don't, or you get traded. You don't ask for, crazy amount of money, or you get traded. I think he has the ability to make, and that works to a certain degree, but like you have to have players willing to do it. And yeah, I don't know. But, and also like you said, I'm not really like scared of the offense. I don't think Mac Jones is really anything special. And this could be maybe calling it quits with him. I mean, I don't know. I forget how much longer is on his contract.
I don't think they're going to call it quits unless they draft a quarterback next year. The only reason saying because technically, like when it was time to cut down to the 53-man roster, he was the only quarterback on that team. They got Bailey Zappi. Did he re-sign to the practice squad? As far as you know,
I don't know. I remember they got rid of, or they cut him.
Yeah, they zapped his ass.
Yeah, I don't know what they're really doing in New England. I think they should be a little bit better, but we'll see.
I think that they will be better, but yeah, only time will tell. At 21 for me, right? 21?
Yeah, I think so.
That's where I have the Washington Commanders. So just reiterating what you already said, I did like what I saw from Sam Howell. I think Ron Rivera is still a good defensive-minded head coach. Hopefully Chase Young coming back, and hopefully he can be healthy and actually show like why he was a first-round talent. So I'm hoping that comes to fruition. I like their draft. I think that they have solid playmakers on both sides. Scary Terry could have a career year with Sam Howell if he's using that Pack Howitzer of an arm. At 20, this is where I have the New York Giants.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so 20. I think that the Giants have a possibility to go back to playoffs, but I can also see a regression. I think that they exceeded expectations last year. I don't know how much of it was luck, but they were in a lot of tight games where they won by one score or less. So usually if it comes back to the mean a little bit, that means that there will be a regression to a certain degree. However, I do like the addition of Darren Waller. They, like you already talked about, they got Isaiah Simmons. So they have playmakers. I think Daniel Jones has been improving slightly, and Saquon Barkley had a great year last year. I hope that he can keep it going. Unless I'm playing Christian in fantasy, then obviously I hope that Saquon just, I don't know, cramp or something, misses 3/4 of the game, only gets 5 points. But yeah, I think that they have talent. I really like what the Giants are doing. We'll see if they regress, or maybe they'll just keep it going and make it back to playoffs. So yeah, Giants at 20.
Interesting. At 20, this is where I have the Packers. I'm not sold on Jordan Love. I think they have a good defense. They have some talent on the offensive side of the ball. They still have Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon. I really don't know what to think of Jordan Love. Like, he could be great. He could be shit. I don't know. I have not seen enough. I need to watch him play. I need to really analyze him. And it's just, I don't know. That's the thing. Like, I think Matt LaFleur, I think he's, an okay coach. I think he can get them to win. It's really just all on Jordan Love for me. And that's why I have them there.
Okay. Makes sense. 19.
At 19, I have the Steelers. Good defense. TJ Watt is coming back healthy. Mike Tomlin, great coach, Super Bowl winning coach. They have weapons on the offensive side of the ball. But Kenny Pickett, I mean, I thought Kenny Pickett did okay. I'm not like, a lot of people are like saying that Kenny Pickett was so amazing last year. Like, I thought he was okay. Like, I didn't think he was, I don't know. I just thought he was okay. I need to see more. I think he has the ability, but he's also in a tough division, a very tough division. The Browns,
I think the AFC North is the toughest division this year.
Yeah.
At least on paper. At least on paper.
Yeah. So he's in a tough division. But they could be fringe playoff team, or they could be. I mean, that's what they were last year. I think they're just a middle of the pack team. So we'll see. We'll see, unless Kenny Pickett just shows that he is elite. So, yeah, I have the Steelers at 19.
Okay. At 19, this is where I have the Packers, so I'm just one spot higher than you on them. Like you already said, a lot of it's going to come down to Jordan Love. I think the defense will be pretty solid. I think the offense has the potential to be solid. I like Matt LaFleur as a head coach. Moving on, 18, this is where I have the Titans, so I'm quite a bit higher on them than you. I think that they had so many, they were another team that was just decimated by injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think having them come back will greatly improve this team overall. I think D-Hop will make a good addition, especially pairing him with Derrick Henry. I think Treylon Burks can learn a lot from D-Hop, so now he has like a steady like mentor, and he's going to get someone with that leadership aspect to help improve his game. And D-Hop's one of the best to ever do it. So I like that. I think drafting Tyjae Spears can give Derrick Henry some breaks, and he's got that one cut burst, and I think that he'll work out really well for that offensive scheme. So Tennessee at 18. 17 for me, this is where I have the New Orleans Saints. I think that their record is going to show that they're a lot better than this, but they have one of the easiest strength of schedules of this NFL. So how much of that is just going to be kind of misguided in a way? I don't know. Like how much of it is going to be smoke? Like it's tough to tell because some teams, they play a bunch of teams that don't win. And I think that's what their record's going to indicate this year. But they could ride the momentum and do well this year. I think Derek Carr is going to have some weapons. Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, if he stays healthy, Alvin Kamara, even after the 3-game suspension, should be pretty solid. Unfortunately, Kendre Miller, their running back that they drafted from TCU, has been dealing with some injuries, but this defense is going to be solid. That defensive line, I think, really showed why they invested some first-round picks in there. So, yeah, New Orleans Saints at 17. Who you got?
All right. At 18, I have the Denver Broncos. And last year, way too high on them. They definitely let everyone down. But two things. Coaching matters. Great coaching matters. Sean Payton's a Hall of Fame coach. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Also, Russell Wilson, whether you like him or not, he's a Hall of Famer. I think I've seen this dude play great since he's been in the league, and he's had one really bad year so far, and that was last year. I've seen so much from him be great, and he does have weapons around him. He has a good run game. Granted, they are dealing with some injuries to the wide receiver core, but they still have Son, Judy. I don't know. I think he's dealing with something,
hamstring.
But yeah, so we'll see what that happens. But when Judy's on, he's on. Sutton's good. For
me, Judy, really quick, I want to say this about Judy. I think Judy has so much talent and potential, but he fucking drops the ball so much for someone that talented. Like if he gets, it's like a Quentin Johnston, like what I saw from him. Like if he gets the ball in his hands, he can make plays, but he drops the fucker. He drops the ball. And that's what I've seen from Jerry Jeudy. He had like 3-4 drops against the Chargers. And I was like, what is happening? Like Chargers should be losing more than this because Jerry Jeudy just kept dropping them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I find it hard to believe that Russell Wilson is going to have another terrible year. They did sign Mike McGlinchey. That's a little bit of an improvement for the right tackle. I don't know. I just don't think they're going to be as bad as last year. I think they could push for a playoff spot. Hope maybe. It's just the thing that is going against them is they're in a stacked AFC. So yeah, I have the Broncos at 18 at 17. This is where I have the Cleveland Browns. Kind of like the Broncos, they have a good defense. They have Myles Garrett, players all around. They have players on offense, but the biggest question mark is at the quarterback. But we've seen Deshaun Watson be great. We've seen Deshaun Watson be really great. Again, maybe it was all the shit that happened to him the year before or 2 years ago, whatever it was. Maybe it's still weighing on his mind, but maybe he's cleared his head and can start playing good football again. Or maybe the football gods don't like that and probably will shun him. I don't know. We'll see. I just think and plus they have one of the best running backs in the game with a solid offensive line in a good run game. And they have good coaching there now. So the Browns, I think they're going to be better than some people think. But this is where I have the Browns.
Okay. I apparently did too without you doing two. So we're on 16 now. 16 for me, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I am higher on the Steelers than you. I try not to take too much away from preseason. I did like what I saw from them. Seeing George Pickens' hands, man. I know that he's not like the fastest wide receiver. He's pretty quick. He's big, but dude, just his highlight reel of catches is just absolutely insane. I think Kenny Pickett will do better. I think Najee Harris finally has a better offensive line. I don't think it's going to be terrible, but I also don't think it's going to be elite by any means. So hopefully he can run the ball a little bit more effectively. I think this defense is going to be much more improved. So yeah, give me the Pittsburgh Steelers at 16.
All right. At 16, this is where I have the Saints. Good defense. I think Derek Carr is a definite upgrade. He's got weapons to throw to. And they have a good defense. Plus, they're going to benefit from an easy schedule. This team is, unless Derek Carr is just complete cheeks, which I don't see happening. I think he needed to change of pace from the Raiders. The Raiders did him dirty. And I think he's going to ball out, to be honest. And Alvin Kamara is one of my favorite running backs when he's, on the field. So I think they're going to win this division. So yeah, I got the Saints at 16.
Who you got at 15?
At 15, this is where I have the Vikings.
Interesting. Okay.
And really it's based on the defense. That defense was cheeks last year. I think they brought in some pieces, but again, to completely overhaul a defense that quickly, maybe they'll be middle of the pack. I don't know. And, they kind of like the Giants, they won a lot of games, with the point differential, like between 3 or something like that.
They were negative in point differential. They actually had more points scored against them than they scored. So technically they should have had a losing record.
Yeah, there you go. I think they'll probably be a little bit better on the offensive side of the ball with the addition of Jordan Addison. It's going to be interesting to see what that run game is like with Alexander Madison. But honestly, I still think we might be buying into the Lions hype a little bit. I still think the Vikings might win this division.
Yeah. I think there's I honestly could see the Packers winning it too. I can see it. If Jordan Love takes the next step forward, I could see it. This division, I think, is closer than people think. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
I don't think that it's going to be like a landslide victory by any means. No. I think that there will be teams competing for the first or for winning the division. Excuse me.
Yeah, but that's where I got the Vikings, number 15.
Okay, 15 for me is where I have the Cleveland Browns. I think that Deshaun Watson is going to take a step forward in his play. I just think that a lot of it came down to the fact that he missed pretty much an entire year, was dealing with all the legality issues from his whatever the hell he wanted to do. I don't care about that when it comes to talking ball. As a person, I can judge him all I want, but as a football player, I think that he's still got a lot of talent, and I think it's going to showcase itself this year. So I think the defense is solid. Like you already said, solid O-line, great running back, good wide receiving core. So I think this team's going to be solid. So Cleveland at 15. 14, this is where I have the Detroit Lions. I think that they have a stacked team, to be honest, on the offensive side of the ball. I love their offensive line. I think that they have good wide receivers. I think their running game's pretty good. We'll have to see how Jahmyr Gibbs looks. Like you and me talk about, there are games when Jared Goff is going to have bad games, but then when he's on, he can look pretty legit. And I think this defense will improve. I don't know by how much, but I think it will be slightly improved. So, yeah, I got the Detroit Lions at 14.
All right. At 14, this is where I have the Giants.
Oh, wow. You're way higher on the Giants than me. Okay.
Yeah, and it's really just based on what they did last year. I do think they're going to regress. I think they're just a little bit early to the party last year. Mm-hmm. They're also in a very tough division. I don't think they're on the same field as the Cowboys and the Eagles. Not quite yet. And, Daniel Jones, man, I know he just got paid or whatever, But did he just get paid or was that last year? Am I tripping? I think that was last year.
I think it
I don't
was last
remember.
year. I don't think it was this year.
Yeah, my fault. But I still haven't seen enough to call Daniel Jones elite. I definitely think he's a mid-tier quarterback. I think for what they want to do, he'll probably get the job done. But their wide receivers, I'm not overly excited about. I think Jalen Hyatt, they just drafted him. I'm kind of excited for him. And Evan Ingram, or not Evan Ingram. Jesus Christ, I am tired. Darren Waller, I love Darren Waller. Like, I'm a big Darren Waller fan. He just needs to stay healthy and help
True.
contribite to this team.
I guess it was this year. It was in March,
Okay.
apparently.
Okay, cool. He is probably one of the earlier ones, which was smart because they don't want to give him Lamar Jackson money. But I think this team, since the NFC is a little bit weaker, I think they could probably compete for that 7th spot. But we'll see. I feel like they're gonna regress. And at number 13, don't hate me, Dane. I just think the top echelon of the NFL is just a little bit better than the Los Angeles Chargers.
I got them at 13 also. I don't know if you can see.
Do you?
Yeah, I got my boys at 13 also.
Holy shit. You know what? Kudos to you, Dane. You're not a freaking complete
biased piece of shit.
Yeah.
No, man.
And correct me if I'm wrong. They have an elite quarterback. Justin Herbert's one of my favorite quarterbacks. I think he's probably by the end of this year, I fully expect him to be, in the top 5 of quarterbacks. He's probably maybe 7, 8, just probably based on last year. He had kind of had an off year, but he has the talent. He has the OC now. The thing with the Chargers is, can they stay healthy? If they can stay healthy, this team could do things, could do damage, but there's also a curse on them. They just need to stay healthy. Really, that's it. Health is wealth. I like what they have. Eckler's a beast. Their wide receiving core, when healthy, is going to be nasty. Justin Herbert's nasty. Their defense, when healthy, could be nasty. But it's a lot of could, would, should. Yeah. Let's see it. Let's see them stay healthy.
Yeah, so I got the Chargers at 13 also. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. This year for me, and for just Chargers in general, it's a prove it year. It's a shut up. We're tired of seeing it on paper, because every year everyone gets hyped on the Chargers on paper. They look like they could be an elite talent. And then same story, year in and year out. Injuries take a part. They blow a lead in the second half. Coaching's subpar. I think that they have the potential to be a top 5 team if they are healthy. See, the thing is also what you touched on with Justin Herbert and being elite. I agree. Last year, he stated, so he got injured week 2 when he fractured his rib cartilage. Week 2, he played 15 games with fractured rib cartilage. And he said that because of that, he had to change his mechanics. So he threw it a lot more sidearm, which is why his balls got tipped at the line a lot more. And you would wonder, why is that happening to a 6'6" quarterback? He had to change his mechanics. Gotcha. Joe Lombardi was just incapable of changing his scheme to what was going on in games. Like, if something wasn't working, keep trying it. And it never worked. Short game. I hated that. And we'll see. Kellen Moore's talking a lot more about throwing this mother effort down the field. We'll see it. Explosiveness is a point of emphasis this year. And not only that, tackling. Some of the simplest freaking thing you could ever talk about and coach is tackling. This team has historically, over the last 5 years, been a poor tackling team, even with all the talent that they have. So that was a point of emphasis this offseason. They promoted Derek Ansley to their defensive coordinator. I think he's going to be a lot better than Ronaldo Hill. And if this team's healthy, I think that it will be legit. I like Thule added to that defensive line rotation with Mack and Bosa, but we will see. A lot of prove it this year, but I think a lot of the other teams that I have above them have kind of proven it to a certain degree. Maybe not all of them.
All right. Number 12. This is where I have your boys, your other boys, your NFC team, the Lions. I think on paper, this is like the Jets, dude. This is Jets of the NFC. Like they have an elite. They have an elite. I think they have the best offensive line, like as a whole, or
I think
or
that
at
it's
least they're
top five.
competing there. They're competing with the Eagles for sure. So that's gonna help Jared Goff a lot. But I've watched this dude in my division for years. I watched him play. I had him in fantasy last year. He has terrible games. And he's kind of like Jimmy G, dude. I think he has a bigger arm than Jimmy G, but like he makes some bonehead plays sometimes. He has talent though, and he has weapons around him. You know, Jahmyr Gibbs might go off this year, honestly. Like the way they're talking about him is like I was really tempted to take him in fantasy, but it just didn't fall. But you know, I think he's going to be like an Alvin Kamara type player. Also, you know, they are dealing with some suspensions, but once Jameson Williams comes back, I'm excited for him. Amon Ra, you know, he has proved that he is the real deal, man. He is proving all the doubters, and I think he is the real deal. It's just really the defense. I think it's a little bit improved, but it's still not where it needs to be in the elite area. So this is where I have the Lions.
All right. Agreed. At 12 for me, this is where I have the Seattle Seahawks. I was going to say Shecox, but yeah, Seattle Seahawks. This is where I have them at number 12. I think that if Geno Smith can kind of replicate what he did last year, this team is legit. You know, Jackson Smith and Jigba, even though he had the injury, he's already coming back, which is great to see. Pairing him with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, I think is great. Great running back room. Defense is improved. So, yeah, I like the Seattle Seahawks this year, number 12.
All right. Who do you have at 11?
11, this is where I have the Minnesota Vikings. I am higher than you on them. I think that they might see a regression this year, but I could also see them winning the division, like you said. Like I think that them and Detroit are going to have a battle for the lead division here. Mm-hmm. I think that adding Jordan Addison is huge, but you know, losing Dalvin Cook is pretty bad. We'll see how much Alexander Mattison can, like, I don't know, kind of take the part. I'm tired as hell too. I don't even know what I'm saying. We'll see how much he can help contribute to this team and kind of replicate what Dalvin Cook was able to do. I think that he's better than people give him credit for. I think this defense will improve slightly. I don't know by how much, but yeah, I have the Minnesota Vikings because they're still an explosive offense. And I think that they're going to make a lot of noise. Plus they have the best wide receiver in the NFL right now in Justin Jefferson. So yeah, Minnesota at 11.
All right. At 11, I have the Jags. You know, I think Trevor Lawrence has finally arrived, but even though it was still like kind of the end of the year last year, they kind of had like they barely made playoffs, but they made a splash in playoffs. I think things are gonna click. I don't think the AFC is so fucking stacked. I don't think they're at that level yet, but I think give it a couple years, I think they could definitely, you know, surpass the Bills. You know, teams like the Dolphins. But it's gonna be interesting that like 4. Like I think Trevor Lawrence, Herbert, Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes. That's gonna be like so fun to watch, like in years to come.
Agreed.
But yeah, I got the Jags. You know, good defense, good coaching, lots of weapons on offense. I'm very excited for Calvin Ridley, and Evan Ingram, dude. He's like kind of having a resurgence. So I'm excited for him, and you know, Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby.
Bigsby, baby.
Yeah, so I'm excited for the Jags. You know, I kind of root for the Jags when they're good. Like when they were good and they had Saxonville, I was really rooting for them. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I got the Jaguars at 11.
Who do you have at 10?
At 10, this is where I have the Baltimore Ravens. It's been kind of a while since I've seen. I think Lamar's great. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's been a while. Maybe it's just it was a long season last year, but I need to see him do it again. I need to see him be an elite passer like he was in 2019 when he won the MVP. I need to see some of these players stay healthy. I need to see J.K. Dobbins stay healthy. I need to see OBJ
Me too. I
stay
have him
healthy.
on my fantasy team this year. Please.
I have him on one of them. I need to say OBJ stay healthy. I hope they don't overutilize him. But I am excited for Zay Flowers, and they have great coaching, and a good defense, probably top 12. So yeah, I got the Ravens at top 10. So
All right.
10.
At number 10 for me, this is where I have Jacksonville. Like you said, Trevor Lawrence has arrived. I think this offense is really freaking good. And I think the addition of Calvin Ridley is really going to catapult them into like that conversation of, oh boy, here come the Jags. Mm-hmm. Doug Peterson was a slam dunk hire. It just shows why coaching is so important. This defense is pretty legit. Yes, also. It took a while for them to get the system in place last year, but I think now that they have some consistency, this team's going to be legit. So yeah, Jags at 10 for me. At number 9, this is where I have the Miami Dolphins. I probably would be a little higher on them if I wasn't as concerned about Tua's health. But, he's been taking some martial arts classes, been learning how to take contact a little bit better to kind of prevent these not CTE, to prevent the concussions, which would lead to CTE. But this offense is legit. They have a lot of speed. You have 3 of the fastest players in the NFL all on one roster, which is absolutely insane. And this defense is going to be coached by Fangio now, right? Vic Fangio. Mm-hmm. So this defense is going to take another step forward. One of the best defensive-minded coaches there is. So Miami Dolphins, top 10, number 9.
All right. Number 9, I have the New York Jets. On paper, let me say this. On paper, the Jets are a top 5 team. On paper. The reason I solely put I couldn't put them past any of these other teams, but I had to put them here because I'm not letting what the Broncos did to me last year happen to me with the Jets. I'm learning from my mistakes.
I think I let it happen to me. I never learned from my mistakes.
Yeah. So they're still in the top 10. They're still going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a great team. But, it's really a Super Bowl or bust with this team. And it's a super team, man. Cook, all these wide receivers, Rodgers, that defense. It just needs to click. We've seen this time and time again. Last year, Russell Wilson, Broncos, all these pieces, it doesn't click. Saleh is a defensive-minded coach. And I think he's a good coach, but we haven't really, how do I say this? He's still young at head coaching. This is his third year?
Third. I think it's his third.
Yeah, third year. So, I don't know. I need to see him like in tough situations. I need to see that team in tough situations. So yeah, I just don't want to get burnt by putting the Jets too high, but maybe it is high because I got them at 9.
All right. Who do you have at 8?
At number 8, this is where I have the Shecox. Again, on paper, this team looks nasty. I think they improved a little bit on the defense for sure. Would they get Devon? Is it Devon Witherspoon?
Yeah, Devon Witherspoon.
So they got him. They got some pieces on the line. They have a really solid DB room. Mm-hmm. But another thing that has me pumping the brakes a little bit on the Seahawks is Geno Smith. He's been in the league for a long time. Not a long time. Let's say 10 years, 8 years.
Probably something like years. That.
Yeah, he's been in the league a long 8 years, right? Last year was his first good year. A lot of people think he might turn back into a pumpkin. I don't know. I don't know because he's surrounded by a shit ton of talent, great coaching. That run game, that's like a 3-headed monster in Seattle. That wide receiver room is scary. So he's definitely surrounded by talent. Let's see. I mean, he started off the season last year pretty hot, and then it kind of came back down a little bit into the playoffs. So I don't know. We'll see.
right. And that was number 8 for you, correct?
Yep.
All right. Number 8, I have the Baltimore Ravens. I'm a little bit higher on them. I think that this offense is going to be good with OBJ, Zay Flowers, as long as they stay healthy. Mark Andrews, I know he's been dealing with injuries. As long as he's healthy, as long as J.K. Dobbins is healthy, as long as Lamar's healthy, because they're another team that had to deal with injuries. Like they were another Chargers. Like they lost a lot of their starting players, which is why that they weren't in playoffs. So I think that they definitely have the potential. The defense is still legit. It's a good coach team. So I don't see any reason why the Baltimore Ravens shouldn't be top 10 in the NFL as long as they're healthy. So yeah, Baltimore at 8. Number 7 for me, I actually have the Dallas Cowboys. The reason
that's what I have.
Oh, nice. The reason I don't have them top 5 is mostly because we'll see how much of an impact losing Kellen Moore has on this offense. Because if Mike McCarthy is the head coach and he's, not as stubborn as like a Bill Belichick, and he's willing to kind of compromise with the play calling and not just be like, all right, I just want to run out the clock, then I think this offense can take a good step forward. But Kellen Moore, great offensive minded head coach. We'll see what Mike McCarthy is able to do with Dak. Dak is turnover worthy, but they still have CeeDee Lamb. Tony Pollard has emerged as one of the better running backs in the NFL. Great offensive line, and this defense is going to be freaking disgusting. So yeah, top 7.
Yeah. My prediction for the Dallas Cowboys is they have the number 1 defense this year. I think Micah Parsons probably wins Defensive Player of the Year. I'm just, the reason I don't have him ahead of other players is I'm not really a big Dak fan. I think he's solid. I just don't think he shows up when he needs to show up. So, everyone's like, oh, every year. They're even doing it this year. The Cowboys are going to win. This is the best time they have. I don't know, man. I mean, there's a lot of people picking the Cowboys to win this division. I could see it, honestly. Like, the Super Bowl curse is real. But the Eagles, on paper, are such a good team. So it's going to be hard for them. But, yeah, I got the Cowboys at number 7 as well. At number 6, and this may be a little high, but I'm basing this all on the fact that they're all healthy right now. Everyone's healthy. And this is where I have the Miami Dolphins. I said a couple episodes ago, I think this is one of my favorite dark horse Super Bowl attendees. I think if they can stay healthy, if full sleeve Tua can stay healthy, I think he can be an elite quarterback. I think they have so much speed and firepower on offense. They have like a 3-headed monster. Well, we haven't talked about it, but Jeff Wilson is going to the IR or whatever for the first 4 weeks. So it's going to be between Mostert and Devin Achane, but still, I mean, that's a lot of speed.
Achane's injured also. I think he's been dealing with injuries also. Yeah.
Shite. But Mostert, when he's healthy, he's elite.
Legit.
Yeah. I miss Mostert. I miss that speed. Raheem the Dream, baby. But and Mike McDaniels is a good coach. I like him. And I'm excited to see what he can do. So let's cross our fingers and let's say hope everyone stays healthy.
All right. Number 6, because I never learned from my mistakes, I have the New York Jets. I bought into the hype.
Hell yeah, bro.
I bought into the hype hard. All I needed was one touchdown drive from Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson, where I drafted both in my fantasy league. Let's go, baby. But yeah, this defense I think is going to be legit. I think they have a great defensive line. I think their cornerbacks are great. I mean, you have Sauce Gardner, who I think is already top 3 cornerbacks in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is a much more competent quarterback, even if he had the year he had last year in comparison to Zach Wilson, because at least he's not going to turn the ball over as much. But I think you can also rely on this offensive line and running game. So yeah, Jets at 6. Number 5.
Crazy? Real quick, the season that Aaron Rodgers had last year would be considered good for like Zach Wilson.
Oh, dude.
But it's just because we're used to MVP Aaron Rodgers, where it's like it was a down year. But sorry, continue.
No, you're good. And I think that, Aaron Rodgers has just expressed like how much moving to the Jets has been a breath of fresh air. Like he says that he has been happy. And I think that could also like affect his play.
Yeah,
so if you're not happy, you just stop caring. You just not competent. Number 5, this is where I actually have your boys, the 49ers. I would have them higher, but I am not concerned, but I am a little worried if the injury is going to affect Purdy at all. That's the only reason I don't have them higher, because I think this defense is still going to be absolutely freaking disgusting. I think it'll be top 3 defenses in the NFL. This offense, Ayuk, he's going to have a great season in my prediction. I think Debo's going to have a great year. If George Kittle can stay healthy, he'll be great. You still have Christian McCaffrey, a good offensive line. So you're stacked offensively. I'm just worried to see if the injury is going to impact Purdy at all. I don't necessarily think it will, but, there's a chance. So, yeah, top 5 for me, San Francisco.
For sure. At number 5, I have the Bills. Still an elite team. Josh Allen's legit. There's been some talks with Stephon Diggs, but I'm sure everything's sorted out. I'm excited to see what James Cook can do. I don't know. I think it's kind of like the clock is ticking on for the Bills. They've been saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. They've already hung banners up in their practice field, which is a little weird. But, I need to see something. I need to see something show that they're better than the Chiefs and the Bengals, because right now, last couple of years, I haven't seen it. I still think they're, better than half the teams in the NFL, but, or what, 3/4 of the teams in the NFL. But, I think I need to see them take a step forward. Like, they're still good. They have one of the best winning records since, like, Josh Allen's been there and shit. But don't stop progressing. You need to take a step forward, because you have to face teams like the Chiefs and the Bengals. So they need to take that next leap. At number 4, I have the Bengals. Joe Burrow, great quarterback, probably the second best quarterback. Defense is good. Probably top 15. And they make plays when needed. They have a lot of firepower on both sides of the ball. I just think, honestly, the Bengals are like kind of victims of circumstance. I think there's just 3 teams that are better than the Bengals. So, I got the Bengals at 4.
All right. Number 4 for me is the Buffalo Bills. I do agree that I think their window is closing to a certain degree. But, Josh Allen's still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You still have Stephon Diggs. I think adding Dalton Kincaid's going to be overlooked until we actually start seeing him play, because I think that was a great pick. I love Dalton Kincaid. I think he's going to come in, be elite if he gets these shares, because there are multiple weapons on this team. So Gabe Davis, we'll see how he transitions. The defense, I think, performed really well at the beginning. Then they got injured, and then we saw this defense kind of fall apart a little bit. So I think the defense will be more improved. I just think that the Bills are a legit team. So, yeah, I have the Bills at number 4. At number 3, this is where I have the Cincinnati Bengals. I think that when healthy, this is one of my favorite rosters in the NFL. I think this offense is absolutely stacked. You have some of the best wide receivers. Joe Burrow is dealing with that injury. Not sure if he's going to play week 1, so we'll see how that affects them. But this defense is solid too. Good running game also with Joe Mixon. So, yeah, I like the Cincinnati Bengals. They are my number 1 seed. I'm predicting them to be my number 1 seed in the AFC this year, but we will see.
Respect. Number 3, I have the 49ers. They've been going through some shit this season, a lot of turmoil. They've been knocking on the door the last 4 years. I usually don't pick my team to win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl. I think they'll get close, but this year, I actually think they're going to do it. I think they're going to break it. I think all the trends that they usually do, start slow, get injured. I think it's going to be complete opposite, and that's what's going to be their saving grace this year. And I do believe in Brock Purdy. I still want to see it happen before I call him like the GOAT or whatever, or the great quarterback. I think he has a lot of potential. It's crazy. There's a reason they let go of the number 3 overall pick for Mr. Irrelevant. I think these coaches know more than me. They know more than you. They see these guys play every day. There must be something special about this guy. And this is, I think overall, like roster wise, this is the best roster in the league. Running back, I think it's a little bit top heavy. I think they're lacking a little bit depth this year, but at least as starters go, I think this is the best roster in the league. It's just really if they stay healthy. If they stay healthy, then sky's the fucking limit. But yeah, I got the 49ers at 3.
Okay, and I'm assuming really quick. I'm assuming we have the same top 2, or in the same order. So I have the Philadelphia Eagles at 2.
Yep.
Kansas City at 1. The only reason being, I thought Kansas City was going to have a downish year compared to where they were, like winning 12, 13 games. I thought they were going to have a little bit of a drop in performance, and then they end up winning the Super Bowl. So because they have Andy Reid, I can never discredit them. And, Philadelphia, it's the top 2 teams that made it to the Super Bowl last year, the NFC and AFC. And they both have great quarterbacks. I love Jalen Hurts. I think this defense of the Eagles is also going to be freaking nasty, especially that defensive line. So that's going to be an absolute monster behemoth. Offense should be just as good. A.J. Brown still, Devontae Smith. Running game should still be effective. And then the Chiefs, man, same thing. Chris Jones not being there should be affecting them.
Interesting.
It's going to be an interesting point of conversation to see how long he holds out for, whether he comes back at all, whether he gets, I don't know. Can they kick him? Can they trade him?
I don't know.
But either way, those are my top 2.
Yeah, I'll say this about the Chiefs. I think the Eagles and the 49ers and probably the Bengals have a better overall roster
Agreed.
than the Chiefs, but that goes.
Andy Reid might be the best head coach.
Well, not even just Andy Reid,
Patrick Mahomes, yeah.
When that combination is literally can take a shitty, not that their roster is shitty, but it can take a okay roster and make it elite. Whereas the other teams, they have players all over the board. They just don't have the best quarterback. The Eagles on paper probably are the number 1 team roster wise. I want to see Jalen Hurts do it again. I think he can. I like Jalen Hurts. It's just another reason why I don't have them number 1 is Super Bowl hangover. It's a thing. Unless you're the Chiefs and the Patriots. But it's a thing. This is why a lot of teams or people have not been picking them to win the division. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that is our power rankings, folks.
Guys, if you made it all the way through here, thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned. There is also going to be really quick. We have to do Thursday night prediction. So guys, this Thursday night we should have mentioned this at the beginning. My God, if you stayed around, you're getting a treat. So tell your friends. Thursday night we have Kansas City. It's in Detroit, correct?
No, it's in Kansas City.
It's in Kansas City. Okay, so Detroit traveling to Kansas City Thursday night, only 3 days away from the time of us recording this, which is awesome. So we're just going to do a quick little prediction. I predicted the Lions to originally win this game. I'm going to stick with it. I think that, Dan Campbell, when's the last time that the Lions got a primetime game to open the season? Been a long freaking time. So I think that he's going to want to show that they have something to prove this year. I think Chris Jones being out potentially for this game could make this offensive line give Jared Goff even more time to throw the ball. I think they have something to prove. So yeah, I'm going to go Lions in a shootout. I think it's going to be a high scoring game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an awesome game. I'm excited to see if the Lions are legit. My only problem is it's against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Andy Reid. It's the first game of the entire 2023 season. I don't think the Chiefs are going to let the Lions beat them. I think it's going to be a close game, though. I really do. And especially with, like you said, Chris Jones not being there. If maybe they'll sign him. I don't know. It's getting really close. You got 2 days until the game? Well, really 1 day when you guys listen to this. So it's going to be interesting, but I still got the Chiefs here. But I would not be taking any bets on this game. So yeah, we differ on Thursday night, first game of the 2023 season.
It will be entertaining nonetheless. And guys, thank you so much for listening. Follow us on our Instagram here. Like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. Jake, do you have anything to add before we get out of here?
Nope. Thanks for listening. And as always, peace.